This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. Florence heads towards the Carolinas as evacuations take place. President Trump and the First Lady are paying tribute to 9/11 victims in Pennsylvania. And Colin Kaepernick is good for business as sneaker sales and Nike stock are up. Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Natalia Vivino.
And I'm Byron Gonzalez.
More than 1 million people face evacuation as Hurricane Florence heads towards North and South Carolina. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan says not to underestimate the storm. People are stocking up on supplies, schools and businesses are already closed. Rescue crews across Southern California are heading east to help those in need.
Today, the entire nation shares this solemn day with tributes to September 11th. A single bell tolls as mourners gather in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at the field where Flight 93 crashed. 17 years ago today, one plane flew into the Pentagon, 2 into the Twin Towers, and Flight 93 was aimed at the White House but was stopped by its passengers. President Trump pays his respects to the victims of the fatal attack this morning.
In this Pennsylvania field, we honor their sacrifice by pledging to never flinch in the face of evil and to do whatever it takes to keep America safe.
Today, America joins together to help those affected shoulder their sorrow and shed their tears in solidarity. President Trump and the First Lady share a moment of silence commemorating the anniversary. Memorial services are taking place all around the United States.
Now let's go on to Matador News reporter Alexis Carfagno with more reactions to 9/11.
This tragic event made an impact on people of all ages. We talked to students and faculty at CSUN to see what they remember from the September 11th attacks.
Well, I was only 2 years old at the time, but I still remember the stories when my mom used to tell me how she dropped off my dad at the airport. And he was not going to New York though, but just the thought of him going to the airport around that time when that happened really scared me a bit.
Confusion, fear, and I remember driving my daughter to school and thinking, I'm not comfortable with taking her and leaving her at school, so I turned around and we went home.
I was 11 years old, and that was the first time I felt kind of helpless, seeing what was going on in the country and just not being able to do anything. I felt extremely sad, but again, I got the comfort from my parents of everything's gonna be okay.
Today, we remember all of the victims and rescuers who risked their lives to save others. Now, let's go back to Byron with more news in the studio.
The family of a man shot by an off-duty police officer says it's another case of police brutality. The officer Amber Geiger shot the man in Dallas last week. Authorities says Geiger called 911 after shooting Botham Jean. They say she mistakenly walked into the wrong apartment and believed her apartment was being burglarized. Officer Geiger was still in full uniform when she encountered Jean. They say Geiger and Jean had no relationship and are investigating the motives. Geiger was arrested on a manslaughter charge, and the Dallas police say they're considering further charges.
California marijuana distributors fail purity standards tests. Nearly 20% of marijuana products failed in potency and purity checks since California required them in 2017. Distributors say the failure rate is due to unrealistic standards and technical glitches. Officials are finding pesticides, E. coli, and salmonella in California-grown marijuana. The strict testing program is working in busting marijuana that is unsuitable for eating or smoking.
In Syria, joint forces seem to be gaining control in the province of Idlib and driving out the last remainder of ISIS. Airstrikes from Russian and Syrian were reported Saturday. The UN says it fears a humanitarian crisis, but experts say the Battle of Idlib could be the end of the civil war. The 5-year-old war has destroyed much of Syria and killed more than 400,000 people.
A man kills himself in Valinda after allegedly murdering his nephew and injuring his sister. Authorities say the incident occurred last night in Greta Avenue at the victim's home. The LASD says the man shot the victims while they were both seated before shooting himself. They say the victim lived at the residence with his sister and nephew. The Sheriff's Department says the suspect had health issues but didn't specify what they were.
California Governor Brown signs a new bill committing to a 100% clean electricity grid by 2045. Scientists say that the global economy will have to remove any additional CO2 put into the atmosphere. The new bill requires at least 60% of electricity will have to come from renewable energy. This commitment will decrease the chances of deadly heat waves and superstorm. California joins nearly 20 countries in pledging to a clean economy.
The LA County Board of Supervisors may vote on a new law that will cap rent in the Los Angeles area. The proposed law will cap rent at 3% yearly and require landlords to have a legitimate reason for evictions. The law will come to the board for approval in 60 days. Nearly 20,000 people could be affected.
Now let's go to Cindy Gamino with the latest in business.
Thanks, Byron. Nike is seeing an increase in online sales in the wake of its most recent advertising campaign. During the Labor Day weekend, sales grew 31% from the past year. On September 3rd, Nike released its new campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. The former San Francisco 49ers quarterback is known for being the first to kneel during the national anthem in protest. Nike thinks the growth is a result of all the controversy from social media. Wall Street also likes the new campaign. Stock prices were down last week, but they are back up again today. Apple is set to introduce 3 new phones this week. One new phone is expected to be called the XS, a new version of their past iPhone X. Reports say Apple will also launch a cheaper version of the phone, which they have not done since 2013. The $1 trillion company is also set to release iPads and smartwatches. Now let's go to Solomon Ladvienko with the latest sports.
Colin Kaepernick is in the news once again. This time, nothing to do with kneeling on the sidelines. Nike has been supporting Kaepernick from the get-go.
So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
It caused a surprise to the sports world. Some Nike consumers have conflicting thoughts about their support for him. Videos have surfaced on social media of people burning Nike apparel. The campaign slogan says, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." A cartoon of Serena Williams featured in an Australian newspaper continues to fall under scrutiny. Twitter users are bashing the racist depiction of the tennis champion. The tabloid newspaper shows an exaggerated version of the moment when Serena smashed her racket in frustration. The creator of the cartoon, Mark Knight, refused to apologize for the cartoon. He said he is upset people are offended, but he will not take down the cartoon. Vice Chair of Arizona Democratic Party, Javin Hodge, says the cartoon disrespects a superstar and perpetuates the stereotype of an angry black woman. Now let's go with Matador news reporter Terrel Guliford with more on the story.
CSUN history professor Sylvia MacCauley, who also taught in the Africana Studies department, says the labels placed on black women began in the late mid-1900s.
After the Second World War, when more and more women started to join the labor force, that's when some of these issues started to surface.
MacCauley also says the media reinforces these stereotypes by highlighting certain images of black women. Some positive images are rarely shown, while negative images are replayed multiple times. During the U.S. Open's news conference, Williams said she will continue to express herself in an effort to fight for women's equality and women in sports who want to express themselves. Now back to Solomon in the studio.
Week 1 of the NFL is officially in the books. The Rams came out strong last night as they defeated the Oakland Raiders 33-13. Todd Gurley of the Rams ran all over for 100 yards on the Raiders' defense. The Rams actually trailed at halftime. LA was able to force 3 interceptions from Derek Carr, even a pick 6. The Rams return home next week and will host the Arizona Cardinals. Former USC Trojan quarterback Sam Darnold made his NFL debut with the Jets and was victorious. The quarterback's first career throw went for a touchdown, but for the other team. Darnold, who is the youngest quarterback to ever start a game in the NFL, threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown for the Lions. Darnold settled in, though. Following that interception, he went 16 of 20 with 2 touchdowns. The Los Angeles Chargers had a rough go-around on Sunday. They dropped the opener to the high-powered offense of the Kansas City Chiefs, 38-28. Phillip Rivers had over 400 yards through the air for the Chargers, but Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill sped away for the victory. Tyreek Hill had over 200 all-purpose yards and accounted for 3 touchdowns. The Chargers head east to take on the Bills this Sunday. The next slate of games kick off Thursday with the Bengals taking on the Ravens on NFL Network. Now let's go to Sydney Gamino with the latest entertainment.
John Legend has made history twice in one night. The singer won an Emmy at the Creative Arts Emmy Awards on Sunday for his work on Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert. Now he has the honor of being considered for the EGOT winner. EGOT winners are those who have won all 4 awards in the industry: an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. At the age of 39, Legend is the youngest winner of the award and is also the first African American to receive it. He is the 13th person in history to be honored with an EGOT. Actor Jeffrey Owens shows that with a little hard work comes great success. Owens is known for his role as Elvin in The Cosby Show. He recently received job shaming after photos of him working at Trader Joe's showed up online. In a recent interview, Owens revealed that he accepted a job offer from Tyler Perry. Perry offered him a role on his show, The Haves and Have-Nots. Owens' role on the show is not yet known, but he is set to appear on multiple episodes. Now let's go to Angela Bickman in Studio B.
Okay, and what kind of activities will be going on at the event?
We have the LA Leakers coming out. We have a huge dance floor. We have a carnival with an art car, Ferris wheel, laser tag, free food, multiple different rooms with different activities in it, a whole arcade. So just come out, get your ticket, and enjoy the fun night we have planned for y'all.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Now back to the studio.
A new study by Finnish and British researchers find airport security bins may carry viruses. The study looked at the Helsinki International Airport. The study found a 50% chance of the bins can carry viruses that cause respiratory infections. Researchers say airports should offer hand sanitizer to the passengers, or passengers should just go directly to a sink and wash with hot water and soap. Global hunger continues to rise according to a new report released by the UN. New evidence shows over 800 million people are hungry in the world as of 2017, and that number continues to go up. Hunger has been on the rise over the last 3 years and is returning to levels from over a decade ago. The UN report found the key drivers behind the rise in hunger are droughts and floods, combined with conflict and economic slowdowns. The areas of the world most affected by hunger are Asia, Africa, and Latin America.
And if you're preparing to go to the beach today will be the perfect day because the skies are clear and sunny and will be in the low 70s. And now back to the studio and Natalia for more news.
A Good Samaritan steps in after a woman is attacked with a machete at a Starbucks. Bakersfield police say the woman was chased and then stabbed by a man she dated. When a bystander stepped in to protect the woman, the suspect went after him too. The Samaritan and the woman were critically injured with multiple stab wounds, but are stable and recovering in the hospital. Thanks for watching Matador News. I'm Natalia Vivino.
I'm Byron Gonzalez.
I'm Sydney Gamino.
And I'm Solomon Ladvienko.